Welcome back to this section where we're carrying on talking about the practical steps we need to set up a successful online coaching business. And we're looking specifically at setting up a website because we are going to need one. Now, it's not essential straight off, right? You can get going, you can have clients without having a website, but websites are really, really important. And if you're going to be in this for the long term, which I hope you are, because things don't happen overnight, you're going to need to set up a website. And I'm going to share with you some of the ways you can do that and the different options available to you. So a website is a really good way for you to share more about yourself, establish the outcomes that your client might be looking to attain. So when we gave that example of the personal trainer, if you went to his website, you could see the transformations from his previous clients, and would see loads of things on that website. It was building relationships with you, it was giving you information, it was giving you ways to book with him. So it's a really great way to be able to share that information with people you're not necessarily speaking to because you haven't had that opportunity. Secondly, it's important that the website is able to show how the outcomes that you've achieved for your clients have happened. So you are going to be thinking about these questions when you're setting up your website. Like, you're going to ask, how will you know you've achieved that outcome? So in the website example I was explaining to you, you will know you've achieved that outcome because you would look more similar to the you could see that transformation in the photographs. So you have the before and after, and you can showcase that through a website. And the other thing that's important is the time frame. So by when do you wish to have achieved that outcome? That's, again, it's an important question for potential clients. They want to know how long things are going to take. Generally, people want them to be quicker rather than slower. So a website is, these are the three things that you really are going to be forefront of your clients' minds when they're thinking about signing up with you. So when you're thinking about setting up your digital presence, you're going to need to think about a domain name. Now, first off, you might want to make sure you can secure your own domain name. So interestingly, when I started, my domain name was taken by a member of parliament. And so I used my name, Claire Perry-Louise, instead of the one that was taken by the department, the MP, obviously, because I couldn't use that one. But that has become my brand and my name, and you might need to do the same depending on how popular your name is or who else might be in that space. So you can think about that first. You may want to have a brand name. Now, sometimes brand names stick. Other times, you can go into the whole branding and doing the copyright and getting trademarks and all of those things. And if that's something you think you might need in your business, then you should take specific advice on that. But if we're just getting started here, have a think about what domain name you want to do. And one of the things that I've learned is that I really like using my own name because it means that when I expand into different areas or when I evolve as a person, because I'm doing so much work on myself and I have so many mentors and I'm training all the time, sometimes things change, or often things change. And if I had a brand name, it didn't quite keep up with me. So if it's my name, it's much easier to keep up with all the developments that are going on in your business. So these are the places that you can buy domain names from. So two popular ones are GoDaddy.com, that's one that I use, and also Low Cost Names, that's another one that I use. So that's where you can go and you can search on those sites to see if your domain name is available and what the extension is at the end. So you can get different extensions. So you can get .co.uk, .uk, .com. You can also get ones, like I've got one that's .expert. You can get .club. You can get all kinds of different ones. So just have a think about it. Now, traditionally, .com's been the universal one, and maybe people always try and get the .com, but there's lots of people online now, and there's lots of website addresses that do work. So don't get too upset if .com's gone. Just see what's available, and don't procrastinate on things like this. It's sort of, yes, it's best to get, say, the .com and the .co.uk, but if that's not available, see what else you can get. So ultimately, what's important is the work you're doing for your clients and the advice you give and the results you get. So don't get too hung up just on the website name. So once you have your domain name, you buy the domain name, but then you've got some different options around building a website. So once you purchase a domain name, you can purchase web hosting from somewhere like bluehost.com or hostgator.com. And then what you do is you connect your web hosting to your domain name, and then you could use something like WordPress and install that on your domain name. Now, you're going to need some training around that. And if that's something you want to do, I would look into training around how to set up a WordPress website or get someone to do it for you. The other option that I haven't used, but a friend of mine, she just set up a coaching business and she bought her domain name from GoDaddy and they built her website. And I've looked at the website, it looks really good. And she said it was a really good deal. So have a look at who you buy your domain name from. They're often offering services to get you up and running and being online. So what's WordPress? So WordPress is a content management system, which is short for CMS. And it's really, really popular. It's used by millions of websites. It's free to install it and use it as your website. So you install it and then you can choose themes. So the theme is the web design element of your website, so what it looks like. There's thousands, probably millions of themes that you can choose from. And it's really good in terms of search engine optimization, as in how people find you online, as long as you do lots of things behind the scenes and make sure that you've got keywords on your website and you've got various things set up. So that's WordPress. So if you are going to use WordPress, this is how you find a theme. So the easiest way is just to Google good WordPress themes for online coaches, for example. And then you can see when I Googled it, there are the research results. You can have a look at those ones and there's different themes available and you can go through and get them installed. Some are free, some are a small amount of money. But obviously, building your own website through WordPress is, there is a learning curve around there and it's not impossible, but it can take a lot of hours. And that's what I was telling you in an earlier module about when I built a WordPress website for the Spirits of Halloween. It took me a long time and then the outcome wasn't great. And I think there's different ways you can do it if you want to do it quicker and do it yourself. So these are a couple of examples of websites where you can buy WordPress themes. So www.elegantthemes.com or www.envato.com. There's lots of website themes on there. And you can also buy things like music off there or audio if you're doing a jingle, if you're doing a podcast, or if you want, there's all kinds of things on there. So it's worth having a look. So once you've purchased it, you upload it to your WordPress site. Obviously, building this WordPress site and uploading it and all the things that come around it is obviously outside of the scope of this course, because there's a lot of things to do in terms of setting up a website. So you would want to take a WordPress course if you were going to do it yourself, because obviously I'm just giving you the outline here and it's quite, there's quite a lot of pieces involved with it. I mean, it's not impossible. I've done it. I've learned it. But I find that there's better things I can be doing with my time than building a WordPress website. So the advantages of using WordPress are you can start for free. There's lots of different themes available. And like I mentioned, WordPress is good for SEO purposes. So it helps you, you will get found if people are searching. But it's not just as simple as there's just one way to get found. It links to your social media presence, how often you're sharing, your blog posts, what keywords are in your niche, the competition. Again, that's another full-on course, but that is an advantage of WordPress, but there's lots of things and moving parts. And there's lots of plugins. So plugins are there to give your website extra functionality. So for example, you could have a plugin which would do a contact form on your website. So things like that. There's lots of different things you could add to your website. So the thing is it's really great in terms of there's lots of capabilities to grow it and get things added, but there is a learning curve to it. So I spent a lot of time using WordPress early on and using plugins and trying to do things with landing pages. And then I went for this. And you can try the link there, bit.ly/easy website option. Always to remember, it's all case sensitive. But this was my savior. Yes, this is Kajabi. This is all in one, everything. It's got your email marketing, it's got your landing pages, you can have your website done on there. You can do it all yourself. And again, yes, you've got to learn to do it, but it links to payment processors, so you can take payments from Stripe. I get people buying my coaching packages through there. I have a membership site on there. I send out emails to nurture the people in my list. Everything is in Kajabi. And because Kajabi is cloud-based, all the tech is done behind the scenes. You don't have to do any of the tech, because in terms of making sure security's on and you've got a firewall and all the bits and pieces around cyber attacks, it's done by Kajabi. So it also has an amazing community around it. So you can go on Facebook, you can ask questions in the community. If you need any support, you can just click the help button. You do live chat all over the time. They sort things out for you. I've been with them for 8 years, maybe. I think I know I'm a founding member, but I've been with them for a long time. And I love it because it means everything's in one place. So Kajabi has lots of themes already built into it, so you don't have to buy them separately. So you don't have to buy them. You just click a couple of buttons and install them. You can view them like landing pages. So a landing page is a page where someone would go, maybe if they wanted to opt into something or a download so you could start building a relationship with them. And you can upload your downloads to Kajabi, create landing pages, payment pages, blogs, so much stuff on there. Like I said, it handles all your emails. You can tag people on your emails. You can segment your list. You can do all the things that you can do with a normal, like if you're thinking about using something like MailChimp, you can do all of those things. But also you can build products on there. So if you are building and growing an online, online coaching practice, one of the things to do to scale might be to turn that knowledge into an online course, and then you can upload that to Kajabi. So you can start making money off the back of your knowledge. So that's another great thing about Kajabi, and it's all in one place. So the website, the product, the online course, you can have the community, build a community on there as well. So it's basically all singing, all dancing. So there's typically an example or just a landing page. So that was a landing page for coaches. So you can look at that, and basically that's their template, and you just plug and put in your pictures and your text and everything. So it's pretty amazing in terms of timings. So if you are thinking about a website, you might be thinking, what kind of pages should I have on there and what content? So these are the main pages you're going to need. So there's the home page. So the home page is the first page that visitors will see when they type in your domain name. So it's the sort of beginning of your journey with somebody. So it's important that there's not too much on that home page, that it's clear. So when you open up a website, the top of the page is called above the fold. So above the fold, you want to have, like with that coaching example in a previous module, you want to have a clear action. So he was trying to get hold of your email address really early on, so you could start building that relationship, and he could then start communicating with you. Whereas if he didn't collect your email address, you could log on to the website and then you could go off and not be seen again. The about page is one of the most important pages because people click on it the most. And it's important that you share stuff about you, what you stand for, what your values are. Like, just be fun. Share who you are. Talk about what you believe in, and seek to, build relationships with people through that natural alignment. Because if you are authentic in your about page, people who have the same kind of values and feel aligned with you will come along and look for more information from you and keep in contact with you. It's important to have a services page as well. So what do you offer and how can people work with you? Make it super simple. Like for me, I know that if I can book something online, I will definitely do it. Whereas if I have to ring up or do jump through some hoops, I'll probably go and find somebody else. So think about what your services are. If you're using Kajabi, you can set it up where people can just pay for their coaching online, set it up. You can integrate. I was talking about Book Like a Boss or Calendarly, which is an online calendar scheduling tool. You can have that directly linked into your Kajabi page if that's something that you're interested in doing, and you can have it all there. So and then you're going to need a contact page, so where a visitor can contact you for more information. So just leave me a message or say, can I ask you some more questions about X, Y, and Z? So make sure you have a contact page as well. And then it's really important that you comply with the legalities around a website, have a privacy and terms and conditions page. And again, Kajabi helps you set that all up, gives you the tools, gives you the info about the things you need to have on your website. Now, in terms of, there's two things you can have on websites. Well, you'll have your pages. So your pages will have your content, and then you can have posts. So when you set your pages up, they're static really, and they don't change very often. They're pretty static. And then you have posts. So posts are things like your blog, and they will update as you change them and add new blogs and that kind of thing. And those kind of things are good for search engine optimization. So if someone was searching and you're a coach for marathon runners, and you're writing a blog about being a marathon runner and your experience and you're talking about it, your article might get found by the search engines and show up. So that's the difference between pages and posts. Now, in terms of building a website and building your own brand, it's really important that you establish some kind of consistency, because consistency really helps to build trust. And branding helps to build brand awareness. So choosing a color scheme and having a logo are a really good start in this direction. So you can start to really be known and people recognize your posts because they see the same coloring. So I remember someone years ago and they used to have orange, and they'd always used to be wearing orange, whether they were sharing on social media or if you went to their website or anything like that. So that's something to think about early on. Don't procrastinate on it though. Just think about it, get something in place. I've got some things that I wish, looked a bit better, like with my community, Like-Hearted Leaders. It's kind of put together in a scrappy way, but it's growing all the time and people are really enjoying being part of it. And it doesn't really say much matter about the logo. I can sort that out later. Generate a color scheme. So I found this website, Colors, COOLORS.co, and it's a way to generate color schemes really quickly. So it's kind of clever because you can flick through and see what color schemes work well together. And then if you're using a tool like Canva.com, you can save those color schemes into Canva. So later on, if you're generating graphics, you've got the color scheme all saved for you. So it's kind of fun, that tool. It's a free tool and it can really help you think about your branding and your color scheme. If you want to get started and have a logo, like I was saying, you could just get going with a logo from Canva if you want to. But if you want to get one that's been designed by some graphic designers, you can go to a website like 99designs.co.uk, and then you'll get a number of designers creating a logo for you, and then you can go with the one that you like the most. So that's kind of a good way to get started. It'll be a fixed price, so you know what you're getting. You could also use a website like Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, and do the same with them and get a logo, or just create one yourself in Canva, like I said. And there you go. It's as if I created these slides. So there you go. Design it in Canva.com. Canva.com is brilliant. I've been using it for years and you can do pretty much everything in there. It's not super hard. There's loads of templates. So if you're doing social media posts or anything like that, you can get it all done in Canva. So there we go. Did I mention Canva.com? I think I did. So, have you started to build relationships with your audience? Because this is important. Like, if you were walking along the street and someone said, "Hi, do you want to buy my lawnmower?" If you're just walking along with a lawnmower, I don't know why I said lawnmower, but I just thought it's like, well, no. Who are you? But if you were chatting to someone who you knew and you're having a conversation, and then they said, "Oh, I'm just going to pick up a new lawnmower," and you say, "Oh, I haven't got a lawnmower." And you're like, "Oh, no." And then you're having a conversation about the lawnmower. So, well, actually, would you like to buy my lawnmower? Because I'm getting this new one. And you're like, "Oh, yeah, okay." And the reason you do that is because you've already got some trust with the person you're talking to. You're like, okay, well, if they say the lawnmower is fine, but they're just going to upgrade it, you kind of think, okay, well, I'm going to be okay here. So, it's the same whether you're selling lawnmowers or whether you're selling online coaching. You need to build credibility and trust because it's so unlikely you'll get cold sign-ups. So if someone knocked on my door and said, "Buy this lawnmower," I would not be buying it. But if I knew somebody, I'm much more likely to buy it. So there's my lawnmower story. So just think about that. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, so how do you build trust? So it's things like having a professional website, being consistent with your social media presence. Like, how often are you showing up on social media? How consistent are you? What are you sharing? All of those things. Doing things like being interviewed. So I've been interviewed for many podcasts and interviewed on Facebook Lives, in Facebook groups, those kind of things. And they're really good because they raise your profile and raise credibility and build trust with an audience. And another thing you can do is you can send out a newsletter, send it out regularly. So there's a newsletter that I receive, and it always comes on a Sunday morning at 11. And you kind of expect it because it always comes at that time. So be consistent. And if you're doing it every 2 weeks, do it every 2 weeks. Don't do it once and then 3 weeks later and then 5 weeks later, because people can't build trust with you when they don't know when it's coming. Now, it's important to build this, and if you're using Kajabi, you'll be able to do this really easily. But does your website have an email opt-in? So opt in, like on that website with the personal trainer, you can opt in for a report, you could create a checklist, all of these things in my favorite tool, Canva. You could create a video course, and if you had Kajabi, you can create it in there, upload your videos quite easily into that. You might have a resources checklist, something like that, or maybe you offer a free session. So give a way for people to opt into your website, and then you can start having an extra conversation with them. But if they just view it and you don't know they've been, you're not going to be able to carry on any conversations. Video is a really great way to establish and build rapport because people can see you and it's much easier. So you can hear my voice, but when I started the course, I showed myself on there, and I don't show myself on now because it's distracting from the slides. But I showed myself in the first module so you could get an idea of what I look like in real time. So I do a presentation once a month called Saturday School with the Internet Business School, and I always show my video. And a few weeks ago, I was doing it with another speaker and he didn't have his video on. And I noticed, as the other speaker, how much more, and we were having a conversation on the webinar, but I noticed how much more difficult it is to build rapport when you can't see the face. So if you can create a website video or get someone to video you professionally, you can repurpose it. So I had a professional video shot and I've repurposed it in lots of different ways. So you can do that if you've got it. So think about having a video on your website. And social proof, it's so important. You know, you want people to go to your website and be able to see what your expertise is. So the best and easiest way to do this is through testimonials and sharing them, like I showed you before, my testimonials, or using ones from LinkedIn, wherever they're from. Share them. If you can get videos, even better. So it's a really good way for people to see that, you know, other people have had good results from you, and showcase it on your website. It's a brilliant thing to do. Now, I think I've touched on this before, but I just want to reiterate, if you're just starting out, all you need to do is take on three free clients. I was saying it all wrong there, but take on 3 free clients. Say that really quickly. 3 free clients in exchange for a testimonial. And like I said, if possible, get some video testimonials, but as a minimum, have a photo of them and their business name and their website address on your website. So, and having websites linking to other websites can help raise the profile of your website, because it's the way the internet world works. I won't go into all the details, but it depends how established their website is. So, for example, if you had a link to BBC is a really established website, and if you can get a link from your website to your website, from your website to their website, it will really increase your web presence. So just a little bit of a top tip there for you. So my takeaway from this module is really create the best website you can, because a website brand shows potential customers you're serious and you're professional. And it's also good for you because you realize, it helps your mindset, and you realize it's not a hobby, it's a business. And I have a business website, and it creates some structure. And I remember speaking to Daniel Priestley once, and he was saying about how, you have ideas, and he had this idea, and he put the idea onto a brochure, and he made a brochure, and then he went and pitched it to a room of people and a boardroom. And because he handed out this brochure, it really felt tangible, as if it really existed. Whereas all it really was an idea in his mind. But if you put it onto a brochure, then it becomes something more. And so I think the same thing applies with websites. Like the more that you have some kind of actual presence, the more it feels more tangible. So it's a way to generate leads from a website, and it gives value as well. So even if people don't work with you, you can share your best ideas and your thought. If you're a thought leader on a certain subject area, you can share that through your website. So, and it's a great link between you and your social media platforms. So you want to have a good presence on social media, but also being able to link to your website as well, so people can find out more about you. So it's just kind of best practice. And there's always a place to put it on a bio on a social media. So you want to have something to put, but you can just start with one page. Now, I didn't have a website for years and years, and my website's changed fairly recently, and I feel like, okay, it's not too bad now, but I always feel like it could be improved. And for years I didn't really have a proper one, but it was just kind of there. So don't worry if it's not as what you really, really want, but just get something out there. So I hope you've enjoyed that module. I hope you've taken something away from it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care. Bye.